this big news flash by the government saying that this is a process we're going to look into, that actually setting up what's called the disclaimer process. And I just wanted to mention that. And if you look at the way processes work in terms of history, and try to deny history or some kind of suggestion of some type of history, you're ignoring a process of determining a bad outcome. This is called the Cassandra factor, and I'll be talking about this on this show. And I want to add this whole business of I'll be writing about this at great length from declassified material on advanced civilizations that might have occurred on this earth, and particularly a lot of discussion about High Brazil. These are the ancient astronaut island theories. It's called the High Brazil Sill, and this is the exploitation of humanity and planetary expansions. And this type of thing is in front of us in terms of people trying to deny the existence of various planetary forces. There's 7 planetary systems out there right now, seven that have been determined so far that may have potential for life. But the whole thing is, it's always based upon water and the process of it. And I've mentioned this before. This seems to be the greatest selling point that's hidden in all of these transactions. Any of these treaties, any of the processes of the world wars that are going on right now, and any of the negotiations that are occurring, all are based on water and food in the end. You need the water for the radioactivity and the radioactivity action of the nuclear reactors. You need the water for the food for people. You need the water for the food production, and you need the water for the processing that's going on in the system of being able to survive on the planet. Now, if you discuss water in terms of changing pH of the water, where people try to sell things that saying we're changing the pH of the water because we want to have better activities in the bloodstream. Of course, they're ignoring the fact of what the pH balance of 7.2 in the human body really is. But right now, when you look at a drop of water, you're looking at 119 chemicals, 9 of them clear, cancer-producing. You're looking at pH adjustment stabilization chemicals, calcium carbonate, calcium dioxide, disodium phosphate that are affecting pH, put there purposely for it. Potassium hydroxide, which is used in the chemical cremation of humans, which is going down the drain, which I'm fighting as well. In turn, I'm using the word fighting. I don't know a better word for it, you know. And of course, that need a lot of help. We need a national movement. We have to have a right to vote what goes in our water. We had in the chemical protocols and the medical protocols. This is why the government has the SIPA conflict exhibition of a faucet shaped like a toilet, so as to train the children to be able to put their spoons in and drink the water from the toilet, to get people to drink the recycled water. Certain people will have water that will save their life, others won't. When I did the doomsday clock for water, that was 2.5 years ago. That was the mathematics of technology forecasting. I used the same mathematics that was used to build submarines in the Second World War, and I was fortunate enough to learn that as a young man and put that thing through. I wasn't in the Second World War, of course, but the thing is that to put that through, I had that the potable water on this earth would not be available to us at all until 2011. And it's 2011, but it actually, the doomsday clock for water for the earth, for potable water, actually has come to pass. It was in May of last year. So the whole process is when they add sodium triphosphates and sodium silicate to determine the pH, and you're supposed to buy out the idea that your pH balance is going to be altered in a good way within the process of the body, is ignoring the fact of the arterial blood gas analysis for pH, which is the point of indicating the acidosis or the alkalosis. In other words, above the pH value, and to look at the respiratory indicator. So this is called PCO2, which is really measured in millimeters of mercury against a pressure point, which is 35 to 45 millimeters of mercury. So if you have respiratory acidosis or respiratory alkalosis, you're going to now affect your metabolic indicator, which is called ACO3, and the reason for that is that it has a process of the balance of electrolytes, which are changed by the pH. And if you take, for instance, you want to buy a sodium bicarbonate product, you're going to affect the arterial blood control system, which is why metabolic acidosis or metabolic alkalosis is a problem, and you can't compensate for it unless you have partial compensation of other forms of respiratory indicators. In other words, it all based on the air coming in affects the oxygen. The chemicals in the water affect the liver and the function of the insulin base. And this is why people have a diabetes type 2 from the drinking water, or have pancreatitis or other process of cancer in the pancreas, and the increase of cancer in the liver because of the enzyme of the Krebs cycles in the liver. So the basis is all based on a very delicate balance of change that can occur with a pH system, which is really being promoted out there as a bogus idea that you can change your pH in a certain way. The government knows that you can control the development of life and death and the basis of our basis of survival through the pH system. And the whole thing is they can have the chemicals that I just read off to you that are in the drinking water are changing your energy system and in your body in the real world. We're not talking about the baloney stuff that try to sell you for other things, you know. So what we got here is a process by which you can survive within the system and increase your health if you understand what the game plan is. And the game plan is to try to change the metabolic system of the human body and change the immune system accordingly. Now, all of those kinds of writings and processes and developments occurred hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago that are documented in documents that the public never sees. And of course, these are in the basement of university systems of the ancient skulls, the process of the thing that changed the bones, the process of the hybrids that used to live on the earth. All these things are all part bound up into the system. And the reason that people got away with not discussing these things is because religion forced their way into the belief system. And so one of the facts of, we had a caller from Texas earlier in the last hour talking about the serendipity between medicine and law, but I'm calling for a grand jury of science and technology in this country. We have a civil grand jury, we have a criminal grand jury, but we need a way to put an accountability to bureaucrats to determine science and technology decisions that determine who lives and dies in this world. We'll see you at the other end of the break. 800-313-9443.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper.